it doesn't feel good to know that she's been hiding money from me, knowing that I would have to go into more debt in order to get the van. It's not fair.
Statler's concerned about money, and her automatic response is to blame Dempsey for being dishonest. But is her inability to take responsibility for her own promises and actions gonna end up costing her this relationship? Because, after all, there's only so much that one girl can take.
If you're never gonna trust me, then the relationship won't last very long. I don't want to be with someone who doesn't trust me.
Then you two are doomed. But before we get to that, let's rewind to the start. So we catch up with Dempsey and Statler on their great road trip the morning after they've christened the van. And while it's all smiles for now, those smiles don't take long to fade from their faces. You see, this morning they're off to a trunk sale, or a car boot sale as they say in England. And the plan is to hopefully sell some of Dempsey's old belongings.
If we were to sell like everything here by some miracle, how much do you think we would get for it?
I don't know.
Now, from what we're shown, they managed to make one sale worth an entire £7.50. Yeah, understandably, Statler's concerns about their finances are growing by the second. So, after plucking up her courage, Statler tells Dempsey that there's a difficult conversation that she wants to have. She wants to address the elephant in the room so that they can keep their relationship healthy. This is important, not just to me, but to our entire relationship, she tells us.
I tend to give and give and give in relationships of my finances, and so I'm trying to be more mindful of that.
Now, of course, she should be mindful of that trait. But let's not forget that Statler was the one that promised Dempsey she'd provide for her. In fact, she told Dempsey to quit her job. And that's something that Dempsey reminds Statler she said. But it doesn't take long for Statler to begin to backtrack. And in doing so, we learn about one of her kinks.
It's one of your kinks that to look after somebody financially.
Not 100%.
It's not 100% though, is it? You haven't bought the van 100% on your own.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that I have.
You can just see that, can't you? You can imagine Statler at the start of the relationship saying dumb stuff like, "I'll take care of you, baby. It's one of my kinks." This was, after all, the woman that was talking so openly about what a sexual lady she is. So if supporting someone financially is something that turns her on, yeah, it's not that big a stretch of the imagination to see her saying that. So, that being the case, hasn't she just lured Dempsey into this relationship under false pretenses? Isn't it true to say that when it's now time for her to put her money where her mouth is, she's suddenly unhappy?
Going forward, it would be nice for us both to have money coming in some ways.
I just put like my trust in the universe.
Right, okay. These two really are a right pair, aren't they? For as annoying as Statler can be, Dempsey really isn't much better. I mean, she can see that Statler, her girlfriend, is struggling to talk about this issue. She knows that money is a difficult conversation at the best of times, let alone when you're as socially awkward as Statler is. So seeing that Statler's already super stressed about the debt that she's in, I find it quite difficult to swallow that her answer is just trust the universe.
That's just how I am, and you knew that before you got into this with me. I mean, I've got my last month's wages to come into my bank, and then I still have the money from my car.
This is apparently the first that Statler has heard about Dempsey's car money. And to say it shocked her would be a huge understatement. You see, she doesn't understand why she was pressured to take on yet more debt, get herself in an even bigger hole in order to finish paying off for the van, when all the while Dempsey was sitting on the money she had from selling her car. So as they continue their drive towards France, Statler's mind goes into overdrive at what she's just heard.
And it doesn't feel good to know that she's been hiding money from me, knowing that I would have to go into more debt in order to get the van. It's not fair.
Wait, hold on. Is that really accurate, Statler? Because Dempsey hasn't really been hiding it, has she? Like, the way that she openly mentioned it yesterday, as if it was nothing, leads me to suspect she may have mentioned it before. Is this yet another of those things that Statler has just missed? Because it really doesn't seem like she listens to what Dempsey has to say.
I feel like I've been trying to communicate with Statler this whole time about money, and she hasn't heard anything that I've said. So it's really frustrating for me.
Now, the truth is, we're never going to know what the agreement that they made in private really was. But Dempsey maintains that Statler agreed to be her provider, but she's now uncomfortable and she's changing the rules. And that, says Dempsey, really now leaves me in a difficult position. And I think just from watching how Statler is in day-to-day life, seeing how impulsive, instinctive and almost careless she is really adds credence to what Dempsey's telling us. I mean, take how little research Statler has done about her new life, for example. If you're living in a van, driving around Europe, you'd have thought researching something as essential as gas prices should be quite high on your priority list.
88 pounds for filling up the tank? Yeah, I pay like 30.
Thank you very much.
I guess I just didn't have a clue it would be that much.
So how long are we meant to play along with the fact that Statler's just magically blindsided by everything? Like, at what point do we say, hold on a minute, Statler, maybe you should learn to listen a bit better. Maybe you should do a bit more preparation for yourself. I mean, how could she possibly think that refueling a camper van would cost the same as a car? Come on. But as their journey continues, Statler eventually finds the courage to ask Dempsey about her alleged hidden cash.
So I thought that you didn't really have any extra money, but then you told me at the boot sale that you had some money left over from selling your car.
Dempsey shrugs and reminds Statler that she only got about £500 from selling her car. That's a pretty small sum, considering they were short £6,000 in order to finish paying off for the van. But Statler's still acting like this is huge news. She's acting like she's never heard this before, and that somehow Dempsey's been untruthful. She's secretly been squirreling away money. But if that's really how Statler sees her girlfriend, then why's she with her?
I'm not keeping it for myself. I told you I still had money from my car.
Why are you so defensive all of a sudden? Just chill. We're just having a conversation.
Once again, Statler just isn't listening. Dempsey is adamant that she did tell her about the money. And I think it's significant that even now, as she's being reminded, Statler just changes the topic. I think her neurodiversity really is showing here. It really does seem like her mind races a million miles an hour. She jumps from one topic to another without fully digesting what's just been said. So what is it that's on her mind now? Well, she now says she's worried because the van isn't registered in her name. But, yet again, Dempsey reminds her they had a conversation about this already.
And I said to you, if it would make you more comfortable, write up a letter, I'll sign it. If anything happens between us, the van goes 50-50.
Now, Statler has the audacity to look directly at the camera and say she doesn't remember that conversation. And you can just see Dempsey getting more and more agitated. It really must be frustrating when someone you love just ignores or forgets everything you say. Now, Dempsey goes on to reassure Statler that although the van is only registered in her name, that's because it's the law. There can only be one registered owner in the car's documents. That's just how it is. But what Statler says next really comes as a low blow to Dempsey. It catches her off guard. In fact, it shocks her that Statler's making her out to be some kind of scammer.
This is just me thinking worst case scenario. These intrusive thoughts that come in that are like, she's taking you on a ride. Yeah, she says she loves you, but like, this is all a scam.
And with that, Statler has just basically admitted that she doesn't trust Dempsey. The van that I contributed to, remember, she didn't pay for it all, she contributed to, is in Dempsey's name, so at any moment we could have a fight and she could just leave me on the side of the road and take off. I wouldn't be able to do anything, says Statler. It's legally Dempsey's van. But this has now just got too much for Dempsey. Hearing what her girlfriend, the woman she loves, thinks about her, hearing how little she thinks about her, makes Dempsey begin to cry.
Statler wanted to go now. She wanted to leave America now, get the van now. I said, if you're also worried about money, let's keep my trailer. I'll stay and work another 6 months.
Look, we all saw the way that Statler love-bombed Dempsey at the start. How she rushed her into living together. So is it really a surprise to now learn that she was the one that pushed for this? Statler was the one that wanted this van. She wanted Dempsey to quit her job. And she wanted it now, immediately. Only now that it's happening, she's suddenly changing her narrative. She's conveniently acting like she's forgotten what she promised. And Dempsey is sick of it.
If you're never going to trust me, then the relationship won't last very long. I don't want to be with someone who doesn't trust me.
Okay, look, if Statler has a bad memory, right, then fine. Maybe she should go and get it checked out, but fine, it happens. But what she can't keep doing is acting like just because she's apparently forgotten a conversation, she can't keep acting like it definitively didn't happen. She's got to stop acting like the woman she says she loves might be a villain, might only be out to scam her. They're supposed to be partners, but if she keeps up like this, it won't be too long before she's single, broke, and without a van to her name.